go ahead.
Okay. Is everybody ready? Low poverty rates and the well-being of citizens are one of the key pillars of success for a nation. UBI into those citizens. Implementing UBI into those citizens' daily lives is key to making that happen. Contention 1, UBI benefits people. To put it simply, UBI universal basic income is a system that guarantees all US citizens a certain money regularly. Currently, Smith 20 states that could be set at a level to ensure that everyone's basic needs are met, and as a result, poor working people or families on benefits would have the amount of stress they face reduced drastically. This would be significant because Cooper 21 states that the effects of long-term stress can be harmful on their own, but they can also contribute to depression, a mood disorder that makes you feel sad and disinterested in things you usually enjoy. This is very helpful because according to top 20 that is experiencing a lack of motivation is an employee that has a low productivity rate. This is also why AJMC 14, or American Journal of Managed Care, states that according to a study they conducted, there's a significant relationship between improvement in depression symptoms and improvement in productivity following routine primary care depression treatment. With that being said, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics explains that productivity increases have enabled the U.S. business sector to produce more goods and services since 1947, with a relatively small increase in hours worked. Overall, having UBI would benefit the mental health of many people and create a better economy as a result. Unlike means-tested welfare, UBI actually helps people out of poverty. Contention 2, welfare doesn't actually help. The US has been using welfare for over 20 years, but it doesn't help at all. Instead, it traps people into poverty even further and creates a vicious cycle. Currently, Fume 22 explains that 20% of Americans are relying on welfare to make ends meet. This is very significant due to the fact that almost a fifth of the population of the United States is trapped in welfare. Hamilton 18 explains that some researchers are discovering a cliff effect in which welfare recipients immediately lose all benefits, including childcare assistance, after a small increase in income. And as a result, parents would not be motivated to seek a better job and promotions because it would leave them worse off financially. This is why Butler 16 states that over 2/5 of the civil citizens in Maine that lost citizens in 2012 had less than a high school education. 39 reported they had a work-limiting disability, and 26 reported a child or other dependent with a disability. This means that people are much less likely to pursue higher paying jobs due to the fact that they would lose all benefits as a result. This keeps 20% of all Americans trapped in a vicious cycle of poverty. However, not all hope is lost because there is indeed a solution to every problem. This solution would be UBI. UBI ends this vicious cycle of poverty because Up to Us 21 explains that with a universal basic income, everybody receives the same amount, and individuals will pay taxes if their UBI puts them above a certain threshold. This is critical because this shows specifically that the UBI is the only way to eliminate the vicious cycle of poverty that welfare creates. Without the prospect of UBI, Jones 18 finds that welfare programs increase poverty rates by 2.9%. Contrast this idea to when Hamilton 18 states that replacing the welfare system could eradicate poverty overnight. Overall, welfare programs keep people trapped in a vicious cycle of poverty, whereas UBI fixes it. By voting for our side, you are helping the US break free from this vicious cycle of poverty and helping the economy grow. Thank you.
All right, and wait, I didn't catch one of your evidence. You said UBI eliminates this vicious cycle and welfare increases poverty by how many percent? I missed it.
2.9.
0.9. Okay. All right, Shosha, it's your turn. Whenever you're ready, I will start the timer.
Okay. The UBI has a lot of unconditional respects, including whether a person wishes to work or not. During times of automation, the UBI might act as a stable floor to stand on for everyone during the first few months. And because people can live off UBI, the 31% living off $12,000 a year, The UBI might act as a stable floor to stand on for everyone during the first few months of automation, but people can live off UBI with 31% living off $12,000 a year right now, and they're not poor or homeless according to Sentence 15. If UBI swoops in, those people will be the first to get off jobs because UBI matches their income need. Even if there's automation at hand, people will have no real incentive to get back to jobs again because their personal needs are now satisfied. Sure, they might take a part-time job for a little more income, but this will have a completely opposite effect from growing the economy because less people will be in full-time dedicating jobs. With barely anyone to satisfy them, companies will have to shut down. The major ones might stay a little longer, but even the companies that people rely on for food might eventually disappear. Yes, some people will still operate, but that only just keeps companies going. Prices will skyrocket because of all the demand, especially if this is a food or housing company, and the lack of supply. Inflation might even occur as an attempt to stimulate the economy again, but UBI's influence is quite strong. Eventually, people will return to their jobs again to keep up with prices, but after the economy balloons once more, they will no doubt go back to their old ways. People's incentives to work will be diminished, only enough for their new lifestyles. In contrast, welfare actually checks on you, meaning it cares for you way more compared to government just throwing cash at you. It reminds you of your duty, while the UBI is just handed and transferred into your account automatically. With welfare, we are actually motivated to earn an income for yourself and get out of the pit of poverty into the glory of sunshine and supporting yourself again. It helps you heal your wounds from times of depression when you became poor by bringing you into the sunshine. In addition, my second contention, not only is UBI doing the opposite of what it's supposed to do, growing the economy and fostering productivity, the UBI is quite expensive, increasing the risk of a depression or potential collapse. Let me explain. We're already 30 trillion in debt, and the UBI, if the cost is $1,000 a month for every adult, will cost 3 trillion per year. In 10 years, our debt could be double as calculated by Andrew Yang. This is because the UBI would cause us to have a lack of labor, as I mentioned in my previous argument, and therefore we are more prone to depressions and collapses. No one except those who still have that thread of trust to lend us money will help us. Though there is a plan from the American Enterprise Institute to implement a UBI, but that costs no money, that plan cuts deductions and credits from the tax system, including medical expenses, student loan interest, and childcare costs. If we want and childcare costs, with the full list of things being quite extensive, according to Cliff 420 from CNBC. This budget neutral UBI would be detrimental to those at the very bottom and top of the income distribution. Matt Jensen, a co-author of the paper, writes, "This definitely does not help the poor and eradicate poverty. This would make them more poor because they have additional taxes that is greater than the UBI. Finally, my contention is that UBI does not help our country. Like I have mentioned, the poor will get poorer, and the rich will not exactly benefit or suffer because of their high incomes. The gap will grow immensely. While with welfare, the poor get richer and the gap decreases, and the poor gets employed. The proposition argument is that the UBI acts as a safety net, but welfare is just as good, if not better, because it is not given to everyone and therefore not wasted, only given to those in need. Back to the point. Whenever UBI has been tested and trialed in the US, it has been tested on a small group or with welfare. Alaska is UBI, but it still has welfare. And it has a steady supply of oil to keep its citizens employed. North Carolina has UBI, but it's only giving it to a handful of people, and it still has welfare. In addition, Tristy and Science 19 reported that in 2017, the difference between child poverty rates with and without government aid in the form of welfare was 10%. If welfare is already working perfectly fine, we should not take the risky bait of bringing a system that has never been tested on large groups in the US or without welfare, or in the case of Alaska, without a steady supply of income for its citizens. This is why we should negate. Thank you.
All right.
How long was that?
You went a little bit over time. It was like probably 4 minutes and 30, 4 minutes and 20. Yeah. Since this is the finals, we'll do 3-minute crossfire, okay? And Harry, you can have the first question. And also, just to let all of you guys know, I don't flow crossfires. But if there's something important that's brought up, I'll underline things.
So you say that people are more likely to face depression due to being poor with UBI, but UBI actually.
I never mentioned that.
Yes, you did. In your first contention.
In my first contention, I mentioned that people will be able to support themselves with UBI, and the lack of labor will cause the entire United States to be more prone to depressions and recessions, and no one will be able to help them because they will have a very unstable credit, except the people who like really, really, really trust them and will lend that little bit of money to them.
That's not exactly true. People aren't more prone to depression from UBI. Instead, UBI eliminates that.
Labor. Continue. I'm sorry.
UBI eliminates this depression because people on welfare, they're poor, so they have more stress due to trying to support their family. And on my first contention, there's that more stress is depression. And with more depression, the productivity rates are lower, and that decreases the economy of the United States. Well, UBI actually creates and since UBI eliminates that depression, which eliminates the lack of productivity. Yes.
Okay, so please tell me how exactly welfare increases stress.
Because people who actually want higher paying jobs, they can't get higher paying jobs because due to an increase of income, that people lose all benefits from welfare, and if they get a higher paying job, that actually leaves them worse off financially.
If people get a higher paying job, doesn't mean they're better off financially because they have a higher paying job, and that's a stable income. Welfare is just to support people who need it and who need it and are in poverty. If they get a higher paying job, doesn't it make them better off because they now have a stable income and are able to support their family, and that makes them less stressful?
Actually, it doesn't, because due to a slight increase of income from people on welfare, people actually lose the benefits from welfare. And due to that time that they don't have the benefits, they're gonna struggle. They can't like support their family, because it's not as if people like get a higher paying job.
Isn't welfare proportional to the amount of income that you have? You don't just get no welfare when you get a low paying job. Thank you.
Okay. Benjamin, do you want to take prep before you do your rebuttal?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll put you guys in break room for 1 minute. Right? Sorry?
It doesn't count for us, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Ben's in the bathroom right now.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, are you ready?
Yeah, mostly. Is everyone else ready?
I think so.
Okay.
And for rebuttals, I want to at least see maybe 1 minute of just full talking. And I know it's hard.
Full
because
talking.
rebuttal. Yeah, I know it's
Okay, I'll
hard.
try.
Yeah, I know it's hard, but you know, if you try and push out words, you'll become better and better. So,
Hey, have a full talk.
okay, minimum of 2 minutes, maximum 4 minutes. Right?
Okay. So I just start. Oh wait. Okay. So a large argument. My opponent stated that the the my opponent stated that UBI actually decreases the incentive to work. And while that may make sense while thinking on another side, that is utter nonsense when completed this logic. Poor people are stressed due to being poor, right? That's just logic. One thing leads to another, and a little thing called depression crops up, therefore decreasing the incentive to work further. And UPI eliminates depression from being poor and makes the economy better due to better productivity from no depressed people, and that's all I wrote because that's in the crossfire. I don't think that was 1 minute.
Okay. Wait, let me pause the recording. Cole, it's your turn.
So my opponent said that welfare would cause stress, but they never specified on why it would cause stress. He said UBI benefits people, but UBI would not benefit people. So it wouldn't affect the rich either way, and the poor wouldn't get richer. Uh, my opponents also mentioned that the unemployed would be stressed out, but
Cole, 2 minutes is up. Do you still have more to talk about? Okay. It's not Grand Crossfire here. It's the rebuttal speakers Crossfire. So Benjamin and Cole, the two of you, are you guys ready for Crossfire?
I think so.
Okay, I'm gonna start the time in 3, 2, 1.
Who started?
Um,
So I want to ask a question about UBI. So do you want
Sure.
to replace welfare with UBI or add a UBI on to welfare?
I did not hear that. Can you say that again?
I want to ask if you're trying to replace welfare or add on to welfare.
We're trying to replace it entirely. Scrub it from the face of the universe.
Consider what that would mean. If you take the dollars targeted on the people in the bottom for 2/5 the population and convert them to universal payments to the people all the way up the income scale, you're redistributing income upward. That would increase poverty and inequality. That's the reduce that from 19.
What?
Would you like to ask a question?
I did not hear that much of that, dude. I'm sorry. My Wi-Fi is cutting out on weird.
Oh. Don't we repeat it?
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so I think you mentioned that UVI would increase stress. Would you like how?
I didn't even say that.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have anything else.
So he said that in the Trump era, poverty was increased because there was welfare, but that was correlation. Welfare did not cause poverty.
Welfare did not cause poverty. That's what you're saying. So what's your question exactly? Hello? Okay. Well, it traps people in poverty instead of causing poverty.
So
Oh, time's up.
wait, really quickly, could you summarize your speech since I got cut off for a second while you were saying it? Like Benjamin, your previous speech that you made.
The previous speech? Okay, sure. Give me a second. Let me pull it up. Okay, so I basically just said that without UBI, people would just be depressed, and then that decreases the incentive to work and therefore destroys the economy and whatever. Stop laughing at me. It's making me feel bad.
Okay, and no one can type in the chat during a speech, please. It's very distracting. Okay. Okay. Or wait, no, it's not you. Carrie, are you ready, or do you need to take prep time?
Can I have a bit of prep time?
All right. How much do you want to use?
Would 2 minutes be fine?
You only have 2 minutes, so you used one. You only have 1 minute left.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to go to the breakout room or no?
Actually, I'm ready now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I won't count that as any prep time.
So the opposing side would keep telling us that so the opposing side will keep telling that people won't be better off financially. No, sorry. The opposing side would tell you that people won't actually lose benefits after getting a slight increase of income from welfare. But this is not true at all, because if people get increases in incomes like promotions or better job opportunities, then they won't receive as much benefits and lose lots of benefits from welfare. And they're saying, and that actually leaves them worse off financially. Because when you sign up for a new job or a better job, you don't automatically get the paycheck. So you have to wait for a month with all those lost benefits, and that will actually leave you worse off financially. They're gonna keep telling you that, and they're gonna keep asking us that, and that's just utter nonsense. And welfare just like traps people into poverty because they can't seek out better jobs opportunities from the lost benefits because they will lose benefits.
Is it just me or is he frozen?
I think he's frozen actually.
We'll wait for him when he comes back. Yeah, I'll make it easy. I'll put him in the waiting room for now.
How does putting him in the waiting room make it easier?
Because I don't know. Yeah, he's gonna go back soon.
I'm kind of have to go, like really. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, you only have one last speech left to do, so. All right, Harry is frozen again.
What?
Nothing. You're back. Okay. I think you had around 1 minute and 30 seconds left when you left. So continue your speech from there.
Okay.
And also, if it helps, the lag, you can try and turn off your camera. I think it helps.
Okay. Like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, wait, I forgot where I was at. It's kind of hard to regain. But, what did you say? I couldn't hear you.
I said you were talking about people trapped in poverty with welfare, and you finished.
Oh, yeah. And welfare just like traps people into poverty further because they can't seek out better job opportunities and better sources of income because they would lose lots of benefits. And that increases and not just actually traps people into poverty, but it actually increases it. And they're gonna keep you that it doesn't increase poverty. It doesn't increase poverty, and it helps people in poverty, but it actually doesn't. People actually lose lots of money, most of the money they make just from welfare. And implementing UBI into the United States would most likely eradicate this poverty trap, and that's all.
All right, Shosha, do you want to take prep time?
No, I'll be fine.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, 1 moment. Okay. And I'm gonna start. Judges, I would like to summarize our arguments first. We are talking about UBI as a basic floor for poor people, which is important if you want them. Wait, oopsies, wrong doc. Okay, there we go. Judges, our arguments are that the UBI is too monetarily disadvantaged for the United States. We're taking money from taxpayers and distributing it to everyone. The United States is deep in debt and trouble, and there's no real way of hauling itself out of a deep pit. Welfare, a working system, is like scraping away at the ground with a small spoon, but the UBI is like bringing a huge shovel for the US to dig itself deeper and deeper into the grounds of debt. In the end, the US, with no way of getting it out by itself, will have to ask for help from taxpayers. Bit by bit, dirt from the taxpayers' mounds will go to the US, and though it may be able to get out of debt, it will deprive its residents' wealth. If we can prolong it as far as possible and give it more time to think of a solution, we will be much better off, and that is what welfare is doing. In addition, we have also mentioned that welfare is actually bad for the economy and for the United States overall. In my first contention, we have mentioned that people will eventually use the UBI to their advantage and only work part-time jobs. The economy will be much worse off after this, contrary to what the affirmation, I guess, has said, and people's incentives to work will be diminished. Primarily, my opponent has said that during welfare, you would lose, if you get a new job, if you get a higher paying job, you would lose most of the welfare benefits. Contrarily, welfare is actually proportional to how much your income is. If your income eventually goes above the poverty level, welfare will disappear, but you will be much more financially better off. You have also mentioned that once you get into a job, welfare will pause before the paycheck. Unfortunately, that is wrong. Welfare actually waits for you, and it cares about you, and it checks on you if you're going, I guess, badly in your if you're going badly in your job finding or in your job. Welfare actually cares for you and helps you instead of the United States just throwing a bundle of money at you. In addition, you have mentioned that during the Trump era, there have been a lot of poverty, and you're saying that is caused by welfare, but are you sure that is causation, not correlation? I feel like it is mostly Trump's fault, mostly Trump and the pandemic's fault that poverty has been rising. But I feel like it won't be welfare's fault exactly, because welfare rates didn't exactly increase during the Trump era. It stayed mostly the same as it was earlier, before the Trump era. And poverty increasing, I think that would be correlation, not causation for welfare. And wait a moment. So also, the proposition has not exactly mentioned how they would pay for UBI. How they would pay for UBI though? Is it a grand crossfire now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just all of us.
My question first.
Okay.
Okay. How do you propose they're going to pay for UBI?
From taxes.
If we're gonna pay through, okay, we agree on one thing. They're going to pay through taxes, correct?
Yes.
If they're going to pay through taxes, aren't we technically taking money from the poor and like the rich and stuff, and like basically distributing it over? Doesn't that make people more poor because we're taking money from the poor too?
Not exactly, because poor people can find new job opportunities with UBI, and they can gain more income to pay those
Pay
taxes.
for the UBI tax will have to increase by 45%. And for poor people, that will be way more than what UBI accounts for.
Have you ever heard of tax brackets?
Yes, but I do not understand how that would help.
Tax brackets means that people with less income would have to pay less taxes and people with more income would have to pay more taxes.
It will still
Tax
amount
brackets.
to $1,000 a month, usually. According to the British Institute of Economics.
Well, we're in the US, Britain, so I don't think the British thing account
That was
for
actually an
economic
analysis of the
reliable.
US, not Britain. In addition, even if you use another option proposed by the Institute of even if you use the other option proposed by American Enterprise Institute that doesn't cost the government a cent, it still cuts off most of tax deductions such as student loan interest, medical expense, and childcare costs. And one of its co-authors, Matt Jensen, mentioned that it would be detrimental to those at the top and the bottom of the income distribution. Are we trying to make the poor more poor with UBI?
No,
Then explain how that would work out.
sorry, I couldn't hear you. My Wi-Fi actually cut off while you were speaking.
Okay, I'll repeat my phrase. Even if the government doesn't take out of its personal budget, there's a plan that won't cost the government a cent released by the American Enterprise Institute, but it removes most of the deductions and credits, basically all from the tax system, such as medical expense, student loan interest, and childcare costs. Matt Jensen, a co-author of the paper, has mentioned that it's detrimental to those at the top and bottom of the income distribution.
Stop.
Aren't we making them more poor then?
Time's up. Okay. Benjamin, are you able to do a speech? I don't think so, right? Yeah, you're on a car. Do you want Harry to do the speech instead, since you can't? Harry, would you be willing to do the final focus?
I didn't really prepare the final focus because Benji's the one who was supposed to do it.
Okay, how about this? I'll give you guys 2 minutes of prep just because of the difficulties that we're having, and you can prepare. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna open up breakout rooms. Yeah, Harry, go ahead.
Okay. So Hamilton 18 explains that some researchers are discovering a cliff effect in which welfare recipients immediately lose all benefits like child care after small increases in income. And as a result, people would not be motivated to seek better opportunities because they would be worse off financially. And also, the author also states that replacing the welfare system could eradicate poverty overnight, and poor people are stressed due to being poor, and that leads to depression and low productivity rates. And without nice and high productivity rates, then the economy wouldn't be as good. And UBI eliminates the depression to being poor because people won't have to worry about where they get money and stuff, and overall leads to better productivity rates and increases the economy.
Cole, do you need time to take crap? You still have
We
2 minutes.
request the rest of our time.
Yeah, you still have 2 minutes. I'm gonna open
Okay.
up the rooms. Benjamin and Harry, you guys can stay since you guys are done. Or you can leave, whatever you want. I think Benjamin left, so Harry, you can leave too, I think. Okay, cool. Whenever you're ready, hit me.
They start a timer for 2 minutes.
Okay, and then last reminder, no texting in the chat. Please. Right now. Cole, whenever you're ready, let's get started.
Do I use a timer instead of a stopwatch?
Yeah, sure. It doesn't matter for me because I'm not talking.
The U.S. The U.S. could be in big debt if we were ever to employ UBI. And the U.S. would be better without the UBI. And our enemies have said that welfare benefits go away as soon as you get a job, but it actually doesn't. They actually care. They actually care, and they will wait. And so the U.S. is better off without the UBI. UBI would cost too much and not give that much back in return. We still aren't helping the poor there. UBI in the US would influence the entire world due to the US, due to the heavy American influence in the entire world. So UBI is not good for the US because of time's up.
All right, good job, everybody. You guys are done, which means I'm done too. So I'm happy because I can go back to sleep. Let's see. I will give feedback on the debate round. So one really, really good thing is the cases were really, really good. Harry, your case is really, really good. Like literally, look at my flow. Evidence after evidence after evidence. It's so nice. Literally every place where you need it, you have one. It's literally perfect. So I like your case a lot. Like you do a really good job of writing your case. On the next side, the case is also really good. You have evidence, you have reasonings. I guess what both sides are missing are impacts, but you know, that's more advanced stuff, so you don't have to worry about it.
We tried to fill it in at the final focus. We tried to sort of weigh the impacts a little, like our thing affects a bit more people a little. We try to add that in the final focus a little.
Okay, yeah, but on my flow, I don't see any numbers. So I did hear this tax is 45%. I don't know if that's true, but one overall advice is reuse the statistics in your case. So like you guys, for example, Harry, you talk about how you have an immediate loss of all benefits, right? And you also say some like UBI eliminates the poverty overnight and welfare increases poverty. But you never tell me how much. And I think it's very important because the numbers stick in your head more than just what you're telling, than just your arguments. Oh, you did? Maybe you did a few. But the 22% poverty, I wrote down, and the 2.9% poverty, those could be really important. And if you run out of things to say, you can just explain them. Like 22% of people are stuck on welfare, which means if you win your argument, 22% of the whole US is stuck in poverty. Like just tell me that. And that makes it very clear to me that your side is important, right? Okay. For rebuttals, okay, I feel like rebuttals can be, of course, improved, but I won't be that rough on you because everyone is starting and it's a learning experience. But could you guys go over what is going on in your head when you're preparing for a rebuttal?
I gotta humiliate them as much as possible.
Okay. Specifically, tell me what you are gonna say because you guys tell me you're ready, but there's a lot of silence, So, wait, Cole, could you like bring? I know I would ask Benjamin, but he's on the car. Cole, what would like what is going on through your head when you're preparing a rebuttal? I just want to know, just curious. Nothing? That's fine. That's fine. Would it help if I gave you guys an example rebuttal? Would that help in any way? You can say no. Okay.
Yes.
And I think I already gave a rebuttal to Harry your speech because I had to debate for Peter. So what did I say? Forgot what I said. Okay, well, I mean, I could give a rebuttal, right? Okay, let me just go down your case. Let me go down the app case and see where there are holes. So, well, the first thing is, how does UBI solve this? I don't get it. Because you say welfare people are poor, which means they have stress, and stress leads to depression. Depression leads to lower productivity, which leads to a bad economy. But it's not like UBI cures poverty. Like I could be poor and I still could receive UBI and it wouldn't change that much. Because I doubt that the welfare benefits are less than $12,000 a year. So UBI doesn't solve. My opponents are just talking about an issue that is going to be there forever. Oh, and also, I know this is like a serious topic, but don't talk that lightly of depression. I know, Benjamin, you said something like you said stressed and it leads to this little thing called depression. Don't say that. It's very bad. It's very rude and yeah, don't say that because you never know what your judge is going through. So don't say that. And actually, if you guys do want to, I know you guys won't take it that seriously right now, but when you grow up, you'll understand. If you do want to run depression arguments, there's something called a trigger warning. Do you guys know what that is? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you know what it is? Add a trigger warning at the top of your case. Be like, hi everyone, there's a trigger warning on depression. If you don't feel comfortable listening to this case, then I won't talk about it. Or if you please step outside or something like that, because you never know what someone's going through. Trust me, you never know. And basically a trigger warning is like sensitive topics that could make someone feel very uncomfortable. And in a debate space, we don't want to do that. So it could be for sexual assault, drug use, domestic violence, whatever. Like people might have gone through that. So if you're running those arguments, more sensitive stuff, have a trigger warning. Okay. Where was I going? Oh, okay. I was going down your case. Second, they say that helping the decreasing poverty and helping the citizens is most important, but the first contention doesn't have a single impact that aligns with the framework. So that means that their first contention doesn't even matter because it doesn't work with their framework. Second contention, welfare traps poverty. Shosha, you tried to tackle this, which I like because you said, of course, you lose benefits. It's a rule, but it's still better because they have a higher paying job. I think the analysis you can make is that in the long run, it's going to be so much better because no one wants to rely on the government for money. So even if you suffer for a little bit at the very start, like let's say 2 or 3 months, in the long run, if I pursue a higher paying job, I will still have that higher paying job. And I will transition to relying on my job instead of the government, which is better for everyone because no one wants to rely on the government, right? Not even just dignity, it's just more stable to have a job, because you never know what the government's going to do, right? So that's the analysis I would have made. Let's see, 22%. You can turn it with something. Yeah, I heard someone.
I have said that it would hurt like their them personally, like their dignity, that they have to rely on the government. So it would actually help them mentally if they had their own job. Like, could I potentially say that?
Sure, yeah, you can. Ooh, yeah, that's a nice turn. I didn't catch it. Yeah, you can turn it. You can turn their first contention. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I mean, I can keep going it down, but I kind of want to go to sleep, so I'm gonna cut it short. Okay. You tried to talk about correlation, but I think you have to listen to his evidence closely because I think his evidence is specific to welfare, as in, I don't know if it was, no, that was you, but I guess, yeah. Okay, never mind. That was good. That was a good response. Let's see. Yeah, it's just look at my flow. This is your case, and look what I have on the rebuttal. Only one line. I mean, of course, like we're still starting, but if you guys do want to, it doesn't matter, but if you guys do want to improve in the future, then try to talk for longer, even if it's repeating your own arguments, right? Okay, so specifically, Harry, you do a good job of repeating your own arguments in the final focus. And of course, you didn't know that you were going to do it. Oh, but you also kind of talk about the same in the summary. Never mind. On top of talking about your own stuff, you have to talk about your opponent's stuff. I need to see clashes. Okay. Yeah, so talk about your opponents and why they're wrong, not just talk about your own arguments. Okay. Shosha, I just need more evidence from you. I think your reasonings are good, but you just need the evidence. And it's kind of hard to do that since we have limited time, so it's completely fine. Benjamin Cole, just try and talk for longer. I know it's hard. I know it's super hard. That's completely fine though. We're just getting used to it, so. Yeah. I kind of don't want to decide a winner.
You could make both of the certificates, like for entering the finals.
Yeah, I won't say a winner because honestly, I don't even know. I think the debate was kind of Hmm. Okay, so basically, this is what I'm seeing. So the F side, so Benjamin and Harry, you guys talk about your own stuff, which is super, super strong. Shosha, you guys talk about your own stuff, but you also try to respond to their stuff. So technically, no, I won't give any results. I won't do it. But yeah, good job by everyone. Oh, someone just left. Yeah, no winners. No winners. But good job for everyone for winning the first debate and coming on to the finals. Everyone did a good job. This is a good debate. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of lazy to look through that. But let me stop the recording.